Hello and welcome to Drafting Motherhood. If you're new here, hey, I'm your host, Michaela Burnham, mom of two toddlers, writer of children's books with my best friend, who is conveniently an artist. Yes, I am very lucky to have an artist best friend because when I came to her about 9, 10 months ago asking if she wanted to write children's books, it took like absolutely no convincing. So we decided to create our own indie publishing house called the Quiet Bloom Press, where we create books that are centered around social emotional development, SEL, social emotional learning, and we are currently working on self publishing our very first book. And the creation of this very podcast came from too much creative overflow. I needed somewhere to put all this rather than drowning the team in the manuscripts. So I thought this would be a really fun, just kind of creative outlet. And it has quickly turned into a beautiful community full of moms who have so much wisdom and insight. And aside from sharing listeners' email submission stories anonymously, I also host virtual interviews with moms in all sorts of varying fields. When I first began these virtual interviews, I had hoped that one day I would get to interview an established author, but the interview that you'll be hearing from today is more than I could have hoped for. Today's episode features an award winning, best selling author and ghostwriter of more than 50 books with over 1 million copies sold. Lana McAra is a professional editor, book coach, and ghostwriter who builds career authors. Lana has spent more than 2 decades teaching fiction writing and speaking to writers about the business of publishing. Before this interview, I had an image of what successful authors looked like. You know, the like Stephen King writers that either go to the cabin by themselves for months at a time and don't come up for any air, or maybe they're in a corner office in a high rise downtown and they have their head buried in manuscripts. And what surprised me the most about Lana is one, that's not where she ended up, and it's also not even where she began. And that was what I was most interested in, is because the beginning of her journey looks a lot like mine does today. Before the books and the awards, Lana was first a mother, one who dedicated her life to raising her seven children and homeschooling all of them for 25 years, all while living in an underdeveloped country. And while you'll hear her describe her immense passion for reading and writing, she still looks back on those years homeschooling her children as some of the best of her life. So sit back and enjoy as Lana shares inspiring stories of her career in writing and in motherhood. So you are an award-winning author and a ghostwriter for over 50 titles with over 1 million copies sold. First of all, congratulations. That's
Thank
an
you.
incredible accomplishment. Um, do you have any favorite titles? I know you typically write in fiction. Is that the only genre that you write in? Tell me a little bit about that.
I write, my own work is fiction, but I ghostwrite nonfiction. I have one nonfiction book of my own, which is called How to Write a Novel That Sells. And the rest of my books are fiction.
Out of the fiction books that you have, out of the, over 50 titles, do you have a special one that's close to your heart?
Yeah, I do. And I have it here. I know some of your listeners are not listening on video, but um, Tara's Dilemma.
Okay.
This is an old West frontier days romance with a mystery.
Ooh.
And this is my first book. It sold 250,000 copies, and I just re released it with a new cover and everything. So I'm real excited about that. And this is the one that came out just before that one. It's a high speed chase thriller, and it's called Run Cindy Run by Lana McAra. And it is a very fun ride. So.
Ooh, that sounds so interesting. I honestly recently started getting back into my reading journey. I liked reading when I was like in middle school, and then I got into high school and college and was preoccupied with things I didn't need to be. And now after becoming a mom, when you get in that postpartum, you're
Oh,
just
yeah.
kinda in that little bubble and you're like, "I need something." And books were where I found kinda myself again, and it was really in fiction and fantasy and stuff, but those sound right up my alley. I'm excited
Oh,
to check those out for sure.
yeah.
So, Lana, what was your why when you began writing?
Well, it started out that I was a voracious reader. From the time I could read, so say second grade or third grade, then in fourth grade, I went to the middle school and I got to go to the library every day. And so I read every book in the library that was my age level, all the Hardy Boys, Nancy Drews, all of them, everything I could get my hands on. And then when I finished all those, I was taking out two books every day, reading them and bringing them back.
You were like the real life Matilda. Did you have your little wagon too that you got all your books? So sweet.
No, I didn't have a wagon. I would have to take the books back to the library the next day. I didn't get to keep them.
Oh, darn. Alright.
Then I started on adult books after that. But I read my way through high school and I didn't read a lot in college because I was so busy. But reading was my thing, is what I did. And then when I started having children, and by the way, I have 7 children.
Wow, incredible.
I obviously did not have a lot of time to read.
Sure.
So I started writing, and I would write when the kids were asleep. I would write at odd times. It was something I could do at home because I was home with the kids, and that led me into the writing career that I have today. I never dreamed that I would one day be a multi-published author with all of this, back history of all these
Sure.
books. But the fact that I could create what I love so much, those stories, that became like an addiction to me. I love it. I am always and I have a notebook with my ideas. It's still getting full and overflowing even now.
That's wonderful. That means the spark is still there. That's great.
Mhm. Yeah. Mhm.
So, did you find that in the midst of raising 7 children, which, my goodness, please put on your cape every single morning that you wake up. Not sure how you did that. I also read that you homeschooled all of them as well. Is that correct?
Yes, we lived overseas. We were in the Caribbean on an underdeveloped country, Grenada, and because the education system was so poor, I started to homeschool my children at that point,
Wow,
and I homeschooled them for 25 years.
that's
So,
incredible.
yeah, yeah, it was my passion, and I loved it. I loved teaching my kids. And we had a regular school. I had a chalkboard on the wall, and we had cubbies, and we had their books, their school books, and I would have classes, and I would have the younger ones going out to play while I taught the older ones math, and all of that was going on. And it was one of the best phases of my life was teaching my children.
Were you finding inspiration within your motherhood journey as well as you were watching them, or it was really just kind of that quiet time when you had to yourself that you had those ideas pop up?
It was, time for me. I needed something that I was doing for myself. I was giving, giving, giving all day long, and some days I would roll out really early before they woke up, and other times I would write, in the afternoon or the evening, but, my writing was and it sounds selfish, but it was for me. I
Yeah.
I needed it. I needed something that was my
Yes.
yeah.
Absolutely. I understand that 1,000%. That's exactly why I got into writing. Were you working as a mom as well, or you were full-time homeschooling, stay-at-home mom writer?
Oh, I was so busy. I couldn't have a job. Now, I did other things. I think I sold Amway or Avon or something. I
Sure.
mean, I was always doing something to make a little more money, but yeah, I was overwhelmed. I had 5 children under 5 years old.
Wow.
There was no working for me.
No way.
My last 2 children of the 5 was twins. So I had 3, then I had twins, and there's no way I was working.
No.
I mean, I was working
You
24 hours a
were.
day, right?
Yes, absolutely you were. There was no 9 to 5 going in that. That's 25/8 is what you were doing.
Exactly.
Did
Yeah.
any of them end up pursuing a writing career as well while they were watching you write? Did they also become inspired from that?
That's such a good question. I was just thinking about that this week. I think 4 of them have dabbled in writing, but nobody has ever completed a book or anything. One of
Sure.
my sons is an actor, and he
Okay.
has written a screenplay for the stage, community theater. So it comes out in other ways. It's not necessarily just, book writing.
After this conversation, the image that stuck in my mind the most was the classroom that Lana had created for her children. I just keep picturing this beautiful home tucked into the palms of the island. All of the windows are open. There's a nice sea breeze rolling in. You can hear the younger kids playing hide and go seek outside, while Lana is at the chalkboard writing out the lesson plan for maybe the American frontier days, while her children are writing their notes at their desks. And then I thought, what if one of those lessons were the thing that sparked the idea for her very first novel, Megan's Choice? Lana's passion for writing was found within her motherhood journey. She didn't do it to escape her family. She honored her passion by working around her children's schedules, homeschooling her children. This resonated the most with my own writing journey because I found that after a day full of giving to everyone else, sometimes you just need something that's just for you. And what's even more beautiful is that everything Lana has accomplished, the more than 50 books and over 1 million copies sold, she still describes those homeschooling years as the best years of her life. So, moms, if you're listening and you're thinking, okay, I'm sold, I want to become a writer, tell me how to do it. In this next part of our conversation, Lana and I are shifting from where her story began to how she turned that passion into a lasting career. I would love to know how you moved from a writer to building a writing career. What advice do you have for any author moms out there who are hoping to become financially successful through their work?
Oh, that's a great question. I started out just writing my own material, and then I won the Christie Award. When I won the Christie Award, if you don't know, that is a national, highly recognized award for writing. There's 9 categories, and I won in the historic American category. So when I won that award, my publisher hired me to become a book coach and an editor, and they trained me. And so that gave me a way to help authors. And at the same time, there was so many people coming to me for help with their writing at that point that I started a course. I'm my college education, I'm an English teacher. And so I started a class on how to write a novel that sells, and that's my nonfiction book, how to write a novel that sells.com. And I was putting out that course and working with authors. So I started to work with authors at the point when I won the Christie Award, maybe a year later. So really, that's my career now, is helping authors. But it all came about kind of in a step-by-step way. So one of the things I like to teach writers who are looking to earn a living, see how you can help other authors. And really, we always think we have to have a master's degree or something in order to do this, but we don't. All you need is to be a little more advanced than the person that you're teaching. So if you've completed a book, you have a book, or you've been through the publishing process, You could coach someone else about how it is to go through the publishing process. They just need somebody to show them the way. It isn't all about degrees or anything like that. It's just a helping hand. And if you want to go and get training on being an editor or something like that, that's totally fine. You can do that. But authors need help. This is not, although we write in solitary, being an author is a team project.
Mm,
You need editors, you need ARC readers, you need your publisher, you need graphic design for promotional materials and your cover. There's so many aspects of it that we need. And so we've got a whole team around us. I might be showing you this beautiful book here, but there's a lot of people involved
right.
besides me in making this happen.
That's beautiful. So, if I'm hearing correctly, the way to be financially successful is to extend the hand down the ladder and continue to have connection with others. And that's how you get success. Is that right?
That's one aspect of it. There's
Sure.
another one.
Okay.
There's another aspect of it. And that is get into the community and start connecting with your readers. I know a lot of times that fiction authors, and I was one of them, we go behind our keyboard, we shut the door in our office, we don't talk to anybody, we kind of hesitate to even mention to somebody that you have a book.
Sure.
They kind of apologize, for it. But what we encourage our authors to do is to connect with local libraries and bookstores and see if they will let you do a book event. And that's not a book signing. A book signing is where you go with a table, you stand behind the table and watch people walk by, hope somebody will buy the book so you can sign it. A book event is where you go into a room that's full of chairs, you have a little presentation, you do your presentation, and people come up and talk to you afterwards and hopefully buy the book. But the goal for the book event is to meet people who are interested in the topic that you're going to be presenting on. And you don't talk about the book a whole lot. You talk about something in the book that is interesting. So maybe I would give a presentation on what it was like in the 1870s for a young mother living on a ranch and give a little historic talk. We've done the research, we know a lot about it.
Sure.
Why not put together a little 20-minute something? And if you have any artifacts or examples or whatever, you can take them with you and just talk a little bit about it. I have a friend who's an author. She's now working on her fourth book. She has an event called Meet Mary, Meet Mary. And Mary is a side character in her book, which is a middle grade chapter book set in old Virginia, early 1700s Virginia. And she went on Amazon and she got a costume, which is a Frontier Days costume. And it's just a little cotton dress with a bonnet, and she's older. I think she's in her mid 70s. So she looks the part
Sure.
completely. She's awesome. She stands in front of the room in her costume and she says, and she's talking like she's Mary. When I was a little girl, we used to go to the creek for water. And she just tells her story. And everybody just loves her.
Can you expand on how to make your book visible in such a competitive market?
Oh, wow. That is such a great question. Amazon publishes 2 million books a year now.
Whoa.
And so putting a book up on Amazon is just like dropping a little dropper of water into the ocean.
Sure.
And we have to do some things to stand out. One of the things you can do, especially if you're active on social media, you could give updates on the book. So you could even give a peek at artwork. Oh, look, this is what we're working on right now. It's not quite done yet, and just let people follow the journey of creating the book. And then you can also do other posts like that for the book as you go along. Don't wait until the book's done. Start beforehand and begin to connect with people. That's one way to do it. Another way to do it is find groups that are in your local area that would like to have you come and talk about whatever your topic is. And for you, Michaela, I think it would be maybe a library group where they have people come in to read to the children,
Yep.
that kind of thing. So you're getting into the community and people are starting to know who you are. It's hugely important. I have a Western book, and so what I started doing is I take my Western book to a local gun show,
Yeah.
set up a book rack. There's my Western person. It's all about, six shooters and all this because it's the Old West. That's what
Right.
they did back then. And it has really been amazing the connections that I've made through that because it's really a very male dominated event.
Oh, yeah.
But there are women who come along with their husbands who don't care anything about guns. I
Right.
don't care anything about guns myself, but they love reading. And so when they see me there, they just make a beeline right over to me and find out what's going on with the books. And that is my chance to talk to someone that I might never see anywhere
Right.
else. Always looking for new faces, new places, new openings where there are people that I don't normally have contact with. And so the gun show is just one of them. I mean, there are craft fairs, all kinds of different places that you can show up, and my philosophy is just keep showing up there. People will eventually get to know you. Someone came up to me the last time I was at the gun show, which I think I've done four so far. They don't do them every month. They do them like every other month or every 3 months.
Right.
And someone came up to me and said, I saw you on social media. And I said to my husband, there's the book lady at the gun show.
Yes, I'm the book lady. Oh, that's awesome. You said you received 19 rejection letters before you got your one acceptance. How do you take rejection and turn it into motivation?
Oh, thank you for that. This is so important not to get discouraged. So when I got a rejection, I took that as um, it's so much motivation to dig in there and figure it out. Instead of saying, "Oh, I'm never going to make it." No, I was in there pulling my manuscript apart. If they made any comment whatsoever, I was looking at it. I was going deeper. I was digging deeper. And I believe that that long period and all those rejections made my book so much better than it would have been if it had gotten accepted right away.
You spent 14 years trying to get published. And so I want to know about the moment that you found out you were going to be published. Do you remember what you felt, or did you do anything to celebrate?
Oh my gosh. What a time that was. Oh, wow. We were living overseas. I got the word, I got a letter in the mail. Of course, this was back in 1995, I guess. Um, and I am screaming. I'm waving this paper around. The kids are all excited, and they're doing what kids do when they get all excited.
Yeah.
Um, and so it was a moment in our family. And then, the galleys came back and the changes came back and all this stuff was on the cover. All this stuff was happening, and every step of the way, the kids are all just over the moon. And it turned out that we were back in the US when it actually came out. And I got that box of books, and I had the book, and I actually have the original book here. This is the book I got, and it's
Look at
very
her in
small.
all of her glory.
Yes, and I had a book like this, and I had it to my chest the entire day.
Oh,
I never put it down, and I kept saying, "My name is on the bottom of this book."
yeah. Oh, that's so special.
Yeah,
I love that
yeah.
so much. You carried it around like a little blankie.
I
I would have done
did.
the
I
same
just
thing.
carried it, and I was hugging it because not 14 years of struggle
Yeah.
that I went through, and this book became a fan favorite that year, and
Wow.
it put me on the map. My publisher began to take anything I submitted to them immediately. Before I even wrote it, they would accept it and send me a contract. So
Wow.
this book was what really it got me started, and I still love it so much.
That's incredible. And what's the name of that one again?
It's called Megan's Choice.
Megan's Choice.
And now it's called Tara's Dilemma because I I re-released it.
I see. Okay, okay. So it's a re-release and a retitle. Got it.
Title, yeah.
Yep.
I did some updating because this was my first book.
Sure.
So when I got it, I got the rights back. I started reading it. I went, "Oh my gosh, I've got to fix some of this stuff."
Yeah, right.
Early work.
Always self-editing, but that's the
Oh
fun
yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Also, what a fun rebrand too, because you said that was in 1995. So yeah,
Mhm.
30 plus years later, you're
Yes.
able to say like, "Hey, this story still has bones, but let me
Yeah.
tell you in the voice that's now a little bit more experienced." Oh, girl, I'm adding that to the cart as soon as we get off this call. I'm so excited. Now, I know you said that you went through a publisher. Did you ever try publishing yourself, or at that time, was it more you need a publisher? And even still, is it do you need a publisher to get noticed?
Oh, that's such a good question. It's changed so much. Back in that day, all those 14 years, there was no options. There was no Amazon. And I just kept submitting to publisher after publisher after publisher. I had 19 rejections on
Wow.
that book. And I would take it apart. When I got a rejection, I'd take it apart. I'd look again. I rewrote it. I set it back in the Old West. I mean, I just kept working and working on it. But in those days, the publishers had such a stronghold on the market. If someone dared self-publish a book, no publisher would touch them after that. They were
Wow.
blackballed. And
Okay.
so I did not even try to do that because I knew I would be blackballed. And so when Amazon came around, by that point I was still connected to my publisher. They published 25, 28 books for me. But later I went with a hybrid. The hybrid started in about 2001 or so, and I had a hybrid publisher for another book that my publisher did not publish that type of book, so I went with the hybrid. Cost me a lot of money because there was no print on demand. I had to pay for 5,000 copies to be printed,
Right.
and then I had to pay for those 5,000 copies to be warehoused every month. I was paying X amount. So the publishing industry has matured and it's so easy now. So easy.
Truly.
You print on demand and there's the very little cost to the author before the book comes out. You got to get your cover design and all that stuff. But you don't have to buy 5,000 copies or anything like that. So I did end up having one book on Amazon, and that is the this one, How to Write a Novel That Sells.
Okay.
This is still an Amazon release because it's kind of an introduction to my course. And I just went on Amazon and it's still there and it's still selling and it's still fine. I don't have any plans to pull that off of Amazon.
Yeah, please don't, because I'm also adding that to my cart. So think at least keep it for another day or two so I can go put it in the cart,
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
it,
I'm not
right?
I'm not pulling it anytime soon.
Good,
I've
good.
got other fish to fry at the moment.
Right, right.
Yeah, yeah.
So, as we talked about before, my image of a successful author looked a little stuffy. That person in the corner office on the 82nd floor, they've got manuscripts all around them. They're sipping on their fourth cup of coffee. But what Lana described was nothing like that. It was about collaboration, teamwork, communication, being involved with your community. And those are the ways that authors become successful. And if you've listened to the show before, you know that those themes are the very foundation of why I started writing children's books, why I asked my best friend to be my illustrator, and why I want this show to be a conversation and not just me yapping at you. The beginning of Lana's journey looked so much like mine, writing during nap time, scribbling down ideas while the kids chase each other around the house. Just trying to find small pockets of quiet between the chaos. And that gives me so much hope because I don't need the perfect season to become the writer I want to be. Maybe I just need to keep writing through the season I'm already in. And I mean, It took Lana 14 years to get published. And in that time, instead of becoming consumed by the writing or defeated by the rejections, she devoted that energy to teaching her children and using that criticism to fuel the novel into the bestseller that it became. In her final moments together, she shares her thoughts on how she draws inspiration, the importance of knowing when something is a calling and knowing when it's time to answer that call. Do you find that you keep going back to it because you're just finding these random sparks, or do you have it, is it like a John Lennon? You come out of a dream and you're like, "Oh, I have an idea that I need to write down."
It happens in many ways. Sometimes I could be watching a documentary on television. All of a sudden, I get an idea and I run for my notebook and write it down because I know those things are flashes of insight and they will evaporate really quickly.
Sure.
So I'm always writing things down like that. There was a period of time I ended up in a divorce in 2009. I could not write at all, and during that 5-year period when I wasn't writing, I went into art and I started painting. I took a class on portraiture, pencil portraiture. So I was creating art in a different way. And that really helped me get through that time because not writing to me is almost like not breathing. Every time I tried to quit, the next thing you know, I'd have the manuscript out, or I'd be writing ideas down, or I'd be reading a book on writing, or I couldn't quit.
Yeah.
And this is what I tell new authors today when people ask me about it. If you've got something in your heart and you can't put it down, it keeps coming back and coming back, you're not making it up. That's real. That's coming out of your heart. So let's honor that. Let's nurture it. Let's fan the flame and go there because this is a calling. It's a calling. So honor it that way.
As I was writing the notes for this episode, I realized just how much of our life is spent trying to reach a milestone, hoping to get to the next thing that'll bring us more financial security, more recognition, maybe even just a little bit more vacation time. But when we're busy just trying to get to the next thing, sometimes we forget to live in the in between. We can still have dreams and aspirations, but the biggest lesson I'm finding is it's possible to love exactly where you are while also building the dream. Because one day the house won't be so chaotic. You won't have little handprints to wipe from the window, or someone asking you for a snack 6 times a day. One day someone will ask you about your biggest accomplishment. And for Lana, that was the 25 years she spent homeschooling her children in that island home in front of the chalkboard. If someone asked you right now what your biggest accomplishment has been so far, what would you say? Thank you so much to Lana for sharing her story with us today. If you'd like to share your own stories from motherhood or be a guest on the show, you can always email me at draftingmotherhoodpod@gmail.com. We also always take topic suggestions or any questions you have as well. Thanks for hanging out with us today. I hope this conversation has inspired all of you to keep writing your own stories through motherhood. I can't wait to hear all the dreams you're manifesting out there. And I'll see you next week. Let's keep talking.